Oh boy, that's a lot of carrots. Hey everyone, I'm Abbey Sharp. Welcome to Abbey's Kitchen. Today's video is sponsored by Built Bar, and we're going to be taking a look at Lizzo's vegan diet. But first, let me tell you about my sponsor, Built Bar. So if you guys are a snack queen or king like me,
yes, queen,
you need these bars in your life. I have like a whole pantry of snacks in my house, but I keep these right here in my office and like everywhere else in the house for any time that like a snack attack hits. And you guys know what I say about zero guilt foods. I mean, unless you stole it from a baby, all foods are zero guilt. So today's flavor, hit me up. You know what? Color-coded? Color-coded snacks. Yes, purple, purple. All right, we are gonna do the Cherry Garcia. Oh, Cherry Barcia. Ha! Oh my goodness, that is hilarious. All right, so 17 grams of protein. Nothing like the combo of chocolate and cherry. Let's see how it holds up. That is barlicious. Terrible. Terrible, Abbey. Cherry Barcia is a lot better. But I love this because they're made with real chocolate, so they actually taste like a chocolate bar and not like a chalky protein bar, but they're packed with all that protein that we love. Now they are low in sugar, so when I need like a complete snack for post-workout, I always like to pair them with some fruit or toast or oats. So if you want to try these out yourself, check out the link in my description and use my promo code AbbeySharp15 to get 15% off of your order. But before we get into it, feel free to pause the screen or look at the description to check out my disclaimer, including a trigger warning to those with current or previous experiences with disordered eating. So as always, feel free to skip this video if it's not supportive to your journey. And if you are new here, welcome. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and ring that little bell so that you never miss out on an episode. Since Lizzo doesn't have a YouTube channel, we are going over to TikTok to take a look at a typical day of eats. And while you're there, folks, definitely follow me at Abbey's Kitchen for lots of great myth busting and judged nutrition tips. Let's take a look at what she's eating.
So I started off the day with some congee and these little delicious patties, and I ate them together with a little bit of just egg on top with all the fixins. I think that's lentil inside of that.
Okay, so congee is like a rice porridge typically eaten on its own or with meat or fish. But because Lizzo, of course, is vegan, she tops hers off with some egg replacement and then 2 lentil patties on the side. So here we're getting some carbs from the rice and the congee and in the patties, as well as some protein and some fat from the vegan egg and also in the lentil filling. Now, I also took a little peek at the nutrition info on the egg replacement that she was using just to see how it compares to regular eggs. And I was actually surprised to learn that they are even just a little bit higher in protein, but they are also higher in fat, sodium, calories, and lack the vitamins A, D, E, folate, and zinc found in traditional eggs. So I am all for vegan alternatives for folks who can't or don't want to eat the OG, but do note that vegan doesn't necessarily always mean healthier or nutritionally equivalent.
Filling, and then of course I have my
about some of the venture capital stuff that it could.
Okay, so that was super quick, and it's a little hard to see exactly what's in the salad, but it looks like there might be some kind of vegan chicken or tofu in there as some sort of protein, maybe some corn for carbs. I don't know, it's really hard to tell. But if we're going with the Southwestern salad theme, I would do like beans for protein, rice and corn for carbs, avocado, and some dressing for some fat, and loads of colorful veggies for nutrients and fiber.
And then for dinner, I had these delicious rice cakes that I made with this mushroom carrot sauce and vegan mozzarella cheese. I toe it up, bitch. It was so delicious. And that chocolate you saw earlier, I ate in between my lunch and my dinner.
Oh my God, that looks so good for the cold weather we are currently having.
Sledding, just enjoying it. One thing, oops.
So these are not your Debbie's rice cakes. What Lizzo's describing is actually made from pounded rice, which is formed into a cylinder-like shape, and it creates almost like a thick pasta noodle with more of like a sticky and chewy texture. And then Lizzo pairs hers with a mushroom carrot sauce for some fiber and veggie action, and then tops it off with some vegan mozzarella. Now, while the nutritional profile of vegan mozzarella will vary depending on the brand, most often they're fairly low in protein, usually anywhere between 0 to 3 grams. And then we can compare that to traditional part skim mozzarella, which is closer to 7 grams of protein. Neither are huge sources of protein, so I would personally try to throw in like a can of lentils or beans or veggie ground in there, and then dump a ton of nutritional yeast on top. The vegan community is obsessed with Nooch, aka nutritional yeast, and I would say for pretty good reason. I mean, just 2 tablespoons contains 8 grams of protein and 3 grams of fiber, plus a whack load of B vitamins, including B12 in the fortified versions. So I say,
I put that on everything.
also, I am all for a little chocolate midday pick-me-up. So good choice, Lizzo.
And of course, I had hella water, like 4 of those.
Okay, let's talk about this. Do you really need to be drinking 4 liters of water a day? I mean, fluid needs are highly individualized and based on a variety of factors. But generally speaking, most experts recommend that women consume on average about 2.7 liters of water per day, which is already over 11 cups. That can sound a little overwhelming for a lot of us. But you don't actually have to drink it in pure up H2O if that's too taxing for you. So soup, sparkling water, juice, tea, and yes, even coffee all count towards your daily tally. Now, I would expect that on rehearsal or performance days, Lizzo might genuinely be quite thirsty. So if 4 liters feels good to her body, then great. I say drink up. But if you're unsure of your own unique needs, check out the color of your urine to gauge your state of hydration. If you're not thirsty and your urine is like a pale yellow, drinking more water may just unnecessarily be increasing your trips to the bathroom. Now, with all that said, what are my overall thoughts on Lizzo's diet? Now, because we're reviewing a super quickie TikTok and not a lengthy YouTube video, we don't have a very clear idea of specific portions and ingredients, which does make it challenging to accurately estimate calories and macros. But my best guess based on rough calculations is that she's consuming about 1,400 calories on this day. Now, we have no sense of her activity level, how her meals were made, or if there was anything else eaten off camera. But assuming that this is an accurate estimate, 1,400 calories is probably quite low for her needs, especially on rehearsal or performance days when the girl is on full-on beast mode on stage. Now, it's also worth quickly noting that it's normal for calorie intake to fluctuate day to day a bit, so I don't want to insinuate that Lizzo is intentionally restricting here. From what I've seen from some of her other Eat With Me style videos, Lizzo's meals are quite balanced, culturally diverse, varied, and nutrient rich. She'll also often eat a lot of kind of vegan comfort foods like vegan burgers or hot dogs, burritos and tacos, or try new fun TikTok trends like Emily Mariko's infamous salmon bowl, ricotta toast, as well as some questionable trends like putting mustard on watermelon and nature's cereal, aka fruit salad. But yeah, I'm glad that one's on the out.
Would you please leave without a fuss right now? Okay.
Now, as we've seen on this particular What I Eat in a Day, Lizzo will often lean on vegan meat alternatives like egg replacement and vegan mozzarella, which I think are such great stand-ins for a lot of my ethical plant-based folks. I am so grateful that in 2021, we've got so many amazing options for folks with dietary restrictions to help keep them out of scarcity mentality. But then on the flip side, I do see a lot of people, not Lizzo by the way, but a lot of people present these faux products as health foods while demonizing the OG. Now, Healthy is a very loaded subjective term. So for some folks, these actually may be much healthier, but that doesn't mean they are necessarily nutritionally superior. Often they're higher in sodium, oils, additives, calories, and lower in micronutrients. So I say, yes, these can make amazing stand-ins for recreating your favorite omnivore meals, but I would make these kind of accents in your diet while leaning a little more heavily on less processed whole foods like tofu, beans, lentils, nuts, and seeds. Now, speaking of nutrients, while it is difficult to gauge Lizzo's total nutrient intake from a single TikTok video, this day did appear low in calcium, zinc, vitamin B12, omega-3, vitamin D, and iron. Now, these nutrients are more challenging to get on a vegan diet on a good day, but it becomes even more of a challenge when total calories are so low. So this is a great opportunity to focus on adding nutrition to the day. So throwing in that can of lentils and nutritional yeast at dinner, and maybe adding some snacks like walnuts or a smoothie made out of fortified soy milk in her day. Now, I also, of course, would consider a vegan supplement if she doesn't take one already. And if she's having a hard time getting in extra food due to like a reserved appetite, I would definitely pull back on the water. Water is great. I'm not saying it's not, but if we're chronically having a hard time meeting our nutrient needs, we would want to maximize the nutrition in our fluids. Now, lastly, I just want to briefly chat about food and diet culture messaging that I've picked up on from Lizzo's TikTok. Starting, of course, with the good.
So I had pizza for dinner last night. So I woke up this morning and was like, you know what? I'm gonna have pizza for breakfast. But when I got to my kitchen, I was like, I don't think I want pizza for breakfast anymore. But then I started fighting. I was like, no, you deserve to pamper yourself. Pizza is like this comfort food, like go for it. But my body was like, nah. So I asked myself, what did I really want? And I made a big ass hash. Now, I don't think I should be rewarded for eating good as much as I don't think I should be shamed for eating bad. I think we eliminate the words good and bad with eating altogether. But I had pizza for lunch though.
Yes, girl, yes. What I'm hearing here is Lizzo exercising food neutrality and some self-compassion. When we dichotomize foods as good and bad, we project those moral qualifiers on ourselves. So when we allow ourselves something bad and we feel guilt or shame around it, it's hard to just enjoy the pizza or to hear our body telling us when we might not actually want any more pizza. So what I often see is that we get into this last supper mentality and we insist on eating all the bad food until it's out of place, out of mind, and we can start fresh being good again. But like I always say, foods may not be nutritionally equal, but if we make them morally equal, we can start to intimately understand our true needs. And it seems like in this case, Lizzo's body didn't want or need more pizza. It wanted a colorful, nutrient-dense, well-balanced vegan scramble. I also like that Lizzo uses her TikTok as a safe space to enjoy food and will even do the eat with me style videos to help normalize some of her followers' fear foods. Now, as for some of the more problematic content on her TikTok, I mean, to be honest, they are pretty few and far in between, as I find her TikTok to be a pretty safe and food neutral space that really celebrates the joy of eating. And I think that's why that controversial cleanse TikTok that I discussed in my video right here was particularly so jarring for people to watch. So definitely check out my thoughts on that video here if you haven't already. But I do want to quickly comment on her morning green juice and also her carrot feast. Let's take a look. So this, I just do not get. Lizzo's face tells it all. She looks a little bit like my baby the first time he tasted a lemon.
Big bite.
Probably not the most joyous food experience. I just say, what's the point? Sure, green juice is nutrient dense, but it does seem at odds with the rest of her food philosophy to need to get it over with by choking it down every day. When they said, let food be thy medicine, they didn't mean for it to taste like medicine. There are so many more enjoyable and arguably more nutritious ways to get in your vegetables when we actually get the whole fiber intact. And since Lizzo is vegan and already eats a fair bit of vegetables, I would say that this torture ritual is somewhat obsolete. I would way rather see her focus her energy on adding foods to her diet that are rich in iron, calcium, omega-3s, etc., as we spoke about earlier, rather than dragging herself through a glass of bitter greens. And speaking of evidence her green juice is unnecessary, let's talk about her carrot feast.
Carrot is the new it girl for the summer. I had a bunch of carrots, so I made carrot juice, chopped some carrots up and made that carrot dip that I love so much from TikTok. Put some onions and garlic, cinnamon, spicy, some spinach, put in the blender. Then I took some more carrots, skinned them, marinated them, boiled them in a delicious like hot doggy type sauce, got a char on them, put them on a bun. I had an amazing carrot feast. Carrot juice, carrot dog, and then this delicious carrot dip that I saw on TikTok. Don't knock it till you tried it.
Okay, so here we have carrots 3 ways. We've got a juice, a carrot hot dog, and a carrot dip, and they all look delicious. And I can totally see something like this appearing on like a Michelin starred menu. So I do applaud Lizzo for her creativity here. And as a one-off novelty meal, I also think it's kind of fun and also resourceful if you do have a ton of carrots in your house. But as a very broad general nutrition tip for those watching, we do want to make sure that we're enjoying a variety of ingredients so as not to displace other important macro and micronutrients in our day, especially if we want to avoid looking like a pumpkin or a carrot ourselves from carotenemia, aka the orange pigmentation of the skin that one gets from eating too many orange veg. Now I promise it's totally benign and very common in folks with vegetarian diets or vegan diets or those who are genetically predisposed, so I myself have dealt with this my entire life. But ideally we want to spread out the produce love. A single glass of carrot juice already supplies over 200% of your beta carotene for the day. So we get a lot more nutritional bang for our buck by maybe pairing the carrot juice with like a veggie dog and like a bean-based dip. Something with a little bit of protein and fat in the mix. With all that said, is Lizzo's TikTok a safe and food neutral space? For the most part, I would say yes. Obviously, like every other human on TikTok, Lizzo isn't immune to the pressures of diet culture and occasionally participates in problematic trends. And while the world can be really mad at her for this, I think we also need to be empathetic and stop trying to forcefully typecast her as some bopo BIPOC queen just because she's in a larger body. An important part of this body positivity movement is autonomy and choice. And I think Lizzo deserves the right to choose what to do with her body without judgment or shame, just as much as any thin white influencer pushing green juice and lemon water. There is an obvious double standard. Would I love her to not imply that we need to choke down green juice to be healthy? Yes. Don't like that. Would I love for her to not tout the benefits of a bogus smoothie cleanse? Also yes. I talked about that a lot in my video right here. But I also think Lizzo is on her own journey, and she does seem to present a relatively neutral, non-extreme, normal experience that I think a lot of people can relate to. One that's largely grounded in balance and an unapologetic joy for food, but that also occasionally dabbles and experiments with pseudoscience woo. She's not a perfect bopo poster child, and she's not a diet culture diva either. Like most of us, she's just trying to figure out what works for her. And on that note, that's all that I have for you guys today. Thank you again to Built Bar for sponsoring this video. If you liked it, be sure to give it the thumbs up. Leave me a comment below on who you'd like to see me review next. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time on Abby's Kitchen. Bye!